Greetings, fellow football managers, and welcome to one of possibly very many videos on the roles in Football Manager 26. This is something that a lot of you have been waiting for, but given the amount of roles and, more importantly, the amount of combinations with which you can use those roles, because each role depends on your tactics and the roles around it and the general shapes that you're using. There's just so many possible combinations going on. I decided that I was going to try and do this one role at a time and work out a couple of combinations in play for you for that one role. I might do a lot of the out-of-possession roles in more clumps, but I wanted to start with this one, the Channel Midfielder. Now today you're not going to be looking at my tactics screen over long. We're going to go into the match engine in just a moment, but I wanted to give you an idea of what's exactly going on over here. So we've got a center forward in front, we've got a wide forward on the right hand side and an inside winger on the left hand side. So obviously that means there's going to be a lot of space for this channel midfielder to occupy on the right hand side. And that is one of the things you need to consider. Where exactly is the space being created and where is the space being lost? The inside winger immediately is going to cut off the space for a player like the channel midfielder, because the channel midfielder goes into the channels or the half spaces and the inside winger does the same thing. The difference being the channel midfielder starts from the middle and goes to the outside. The inside winger starts outside and goes inside. So they're both going to be kind of competing for the same spot. But whether or not that works for you is going to be a different question, because you could do things like overloads. But in this particular setup, because the channel midfielder starts from dead middle, he's going to be able to choose his own side, and that is going to be the right-hand side. So let's jump into the match and see how it works from this perspective. Again, from behind, there is not going to be any pressure because the DLP and the DM are both going to hold their position a bit deep and let this guy take a lot of that attacking midfield space. So let's have a go. Alright, I've literally just switched us into full match, and let's have a look at what's going on. We've just recovered possession in the middle of the field in kind of a mid-block position with our right back, and the ball is immediately going over to our inside winger. And this is what I said. We get a little bit of a look at the inside winger here as well. That role, he's so far inside the pitch. Normally a winger would be somewhere out here where this right back is, or on the outside of that right back. This inside winger has come in really central. Let's see how this develops. Now that right there is a combination again that we can look at in a future video. That's the wingback and the inside winger. The inside winger comes in so far that the wingback has a ton of space to go into. And this is one of the most efficient utilizations of the wingback that I have found thus far. Meanwhile, let's have a look at what's going on this side. We've got the wide forward who is staying quite wide. We've got the center forward who is dead center. He's right in line with the penalty spot. And look at our channel man. He's gravitating towards the right-hand side because, as we said again, this inside winger is on the left. Let's see how this move develops. Look at where the channel midfielder is. He's right up there. Our DM is over here, by the way, and that's our DLP. So a lot of our players have got really far forward. That is possibly because of the positive instruction given here. Our team is due to counterattack. This is actually a counterattack because we won them all in midfield and have motored forward from there. But the positive mentality will get your players further up the pitch as well. It'll get your AMs right up with your strikers, and it'll get your DMs right up to the edge of the area. If you don't want them to be that aggressive, you need to switch this to balanced or go even further back, like cautious and so on. Then your DMs will be kind of where this number 12 is. I think you can get that in cautious and without counterattacking. And there we go. We've got a goal. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this match engine in this kind of situation. Right in the box, there's just so many bodies in the box a lot of the time, and it just feels like the ball gets shoved in somehow. But again, our channel boy is right up there. He's right beside the central striker. And our IW scores. This is what I mean about bodies in the box. There are, 6 guys there? All of them on the edge of the 6-yard box? That's a little bit overtuned, in my opinion. It's a counterattack, so maybe they should use space a bit more intelligently. But there you go. It's kind of hard to set up a defense that goes against that. In any case, didn't I put this to full match? Hi. You're on full match, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Oh, dynamic mode is off. Let's turn that off and have a full match. All right, let's pick up again when we get the ball once more. Okay, we're on the ball now. We've just got it from a goal kick or something like that. We're moving around in the midfield. I can't pause the game on full match for whatever reason. So, yeah, this is going to move fairly quickly. But again, we are developing our attacks on the right-hand side, but I'm interested in what happens when it goes to the left. Because again, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai, those two are kind of playmakers. The ball-playing centre-back is a playmaker. The deep-lying playmaker is obviously there. Look at this now. See where the wide forward is and see where our channel forward is. They were making essentially a front four with those four players. So you had the wide forward, the channel midfielder, the number 9, and the inside winger. We're essentially creating something like a front four with this number 7, who is the channel forward, or the channel midfielder rather, getting into that space between the number 9 and our number 11, literally speaking. And onto the ball we go again. Let's see exactly what positions he's going to be taking up. As we play the ball around, we've got it in defense. And again, I've got him highlighted over here. You can see that. He's running right down to the end. He's almost like a shadow striker. I would say the most accurate comparison for this guy, this channel midfielder, in the AM slot, just quietly, he's playing in the AM slot, is like an attacking duty Mazala from FM24. That's kind of the behavior we're seeing when you start this guy from the AM slot. When you start him from CM, I'll show you that in a second, it's not quite as aggressive. But you can see here, he's super aggressive. He's like a half winger, extremely aggressive. He can get on the end of the ball from that wide player. He can get on the end of a ball from a forward, and he can try and play in the wide player like this as well. That was obviously a little bit too aggressive, but you could see that the idea was there to link up with his winger. Now he's up in the center, but again, that's a defensive setup kind of thing. All right, let's continue this in just a second. I can't pause again, so c'est la vie. Let's actually change this to be a bit more neutral. Let's shift this guy to a wide forward as well. And let's make this guy a fullback. And let's make this guy a solid DM. Now, aside from the natural players and the influences, you don't see the changes here for whatever reason. And obviously the defensive shape transitioning into the attacking shape. For example, this guy's going to be tracking, so he'll start off later. He's an outlet, so he'll be a lot further up the pitch to start any kind of transition move. So there'll be a transitional shape, let's say. Aside from transitional shape, the changes I just made, which you don't see on the screen yet, that's going to completely neutralize the shape. And let's see what the channel midfielder does when there's no inside player and wide player. Now it's wide player, wide player. Let's see if that makes any kind of difference. Okay, let's have a look now. We've just kicked off and Wirtz is heading off to the left-hand side. How crazy is that? He's in that left-hand side channel that we didn't see him in before. We saw him fully on the right-hand side, but now we're just seeing him pop up on the left-hand side. Let's see if that changes if the ball goes down to the other side. That'll be quite interesting. I'm not sure if I changed the box-to-box or rather the ball-playing defender. That might be something as well. Yeah, just to make sure all of the play doesn't go down that side. Okay, we've got a goal kick now. Here's a chance to build up from the back and watch what happens. Again, the players might go to higher influence players or sides of the pitch or whatever it is. But we've got Wirtz now. He is defaulting a little bit to the left, but now he's coming to the right. When the ball goes up the right-hand side, you can see him look for that right-hand side half space. So he's following the ball a little bit like a free role player. There we go. He's coming to the side of the ball. So that might be an interesting thing for you to utilize as well if you've got no pressure from the two sides and you kind of want to use a kind of a balanced mirror type formation where the left-hand side looks a lot like the right-hand side. And you can see Wirtz now, he's on the right-hand side channel again as the ball progresses up the right-hand side. So again, this could be something you want to use there. He is in the box and he takes the shot and scores. So that is the kind of goal you can get from the channel midfielder again. This setup right now is a mirror setup. There's no pressure from the other roles. He can kind of go to whichever channel he wants. And as you can see, he's choosing the left-hand side channel and the right-hand side channel purely based on where the ball is. So that could be a super useful tactic for you when you want to decide what kind of player to play off the striker, to use those spaces in kind of a U-shape around a kind of static number 9. A channel midfielder could be the way to go. You don't have to go for a free role player, but a channel midfielder in the AM is proving very useful and going ball side. wherever possible. All right, let's stop it there. Oh, I forgot. I can't actually stop it. Let's go into tactics and change things around a little bit more. Let's go back to the old setup. Go to a inside winger. Let's go to a wing back on this side. I did this already. It's a little bit tough to see with this UI when it doesn't update at all. And then we need to change it in possession as well as out of possession. So let's change the midfield up a little bit like that. He's a channel. He's a CM, he's a DM, something like that. And then we do the same thing for out of possession. I don't see a reason not to have the same setup. I guess one reason would be this outlet player. So let's just drop him from an outlet to a normal winger, just to have a little bit more security. So it's CM, CM, DM. What we could do is also, let's not drop the DM. That's something for another video. But yeah, this guy's the channel, this guy's coming in, this guy's wide, this guy's pushing up. So again, the space is going to be on the right-hand side. He's also naturally a right-hand side kind of player. So let's see how it changes from the CM slot. Back in a second. Okay, we've got a break in play now. The tactics should get loaded in. Yep. We are, again, I've got my highlighter on Wirtz, and I'm not going to change that. We just want to watch his positioning. This has been a throw-in, so we're not going to see the team shape build until about now. Gravenberch at DM gets the ball. We've got Bradley at right back on the ball, and Wirtz is playing much more of a refined role, but now he goes and supports the number 9 a little bit. So generally, I would like to try and summarize this channel midfielder as someone who supports the 9. You can really compare it to a Mezzala from the previous editions of Football Manager. I don't think you'll go wrong doing that. And just from the AM position, he is super duper aggressive. You can see he's aggressive from the central midfield position as well. He's really trying to make an attacking run going up there. So Mezzala is very, very accurate in terms of what he does. But he's going to be a very goal-hungry player. And here we are getting involved in build-up. My goodness, he's not herring off straight away. He's getting a little bit more involved in build-up. The ball is getting out to the forwards, and then he's running in. So he's giving and going when he's in this central midfield position. Whereas you saw before, from the AM position, he was just going. Once the other midfielders got on the ball, he was joining the forward line and making a front four with those other 3 attacking players. Now he's a little bit more involved in build-up play. So it's more like a Mezzala support now if you are coming from Football Manager 24 or 23. So that's super interesting in terms of how that works. Can you play him in the middle of a central midfield 3, for example? I'm not actually sure. Haven't bothered to try it out. If you do, you might get performance similar to the, from the AM position, like we said before, where you can go both sides. If the space is there for it, you might get that, but I haven't tried it yet. That's the one thing I haven't really tried yet. And it's a little bit of a weird decision to make. But I'm liking him from this CM position too. I love him from the AM position though. He's one of my best AM roles already in this Football Manager because of just what he does. Getting out there like a second striker essentially, but, going out to the wide areas when the striker stays in the middle. That's a really nice little bit of combination play that you can create. Also the way he works with a winger or a wide forward. The inside winger, it's a little bit tricky. Now, I think we've seen enough from this particular role. And that was a bug. I mean, that was a great clearance. What happened there? Okay, cool. Less said about that, the better. SI, I think you want to look at that one. Very interesting. All right, let's make another tactical switch. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. And here. All right, we're just making a couple of small changes here. We have a 4-2-3-1 again, but this time we're going to go with 2 inside players. You can see this, inside winger, and let's see what the CHM does when this is the situation. Now we've got the wing backs bombing on, and these guys in front cutting in. So this is full-on overlapping. Let's see if the channel midfielder can actually work or not within this situation, given that there's almost no space to do anything in now. We're going to need to wait for the tactics to go in, so see you in a sec. Although that might be interesting to watch as well, since that was some nice link-up play with the wide forward and the channel midfielder. Again, it would work with the winger as well, because the winger and the wide forward act in a very similar way when you're building up and progressing the ball. It's just that the winger will try and get it on the outside and dribble a lot more before doing something at the end. Like right when he gets to the byline, then he'll decide, okay, do I shoot, do I cross, do I do something like that? But in terms of positioning in the progression phase, the wide forward and the winger are quite similar in that they hold very, very wide. Now, look at this. We've got our wing back providing all of the width. We've got the forward line of three very, very high. And we had our channel midfielder stuck right in the middle. I don't think there's actually any space for him to operate in this tactical setup. My hope was that he would actually go really wide and try and help out the wing back, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. All right, let's have a look at build-up again. We've got our back six essentially playing short ball between each other. And we've got the front four waiting for a slightly longer ball, like now. Nope. This is fine. And now we have it. There we go. Here he goes. And oh my goodness me, he's doing that thing from before and takes the shot. Right, so that was straight out of the progression phase where he made the early underlapping run and he got out on that right-hand side. He's right-footed, remember? I wonder if he'll do the same thing off the left-hand side. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. But again, very Mazzala attack duty behavior from this dude. Seems like even a higher kind of attack duty than the two wingers. The two IWs. The IWs seem to be more support duties from what I see. By the way, I'm sorry about the screen tearing. I can see it on this screen now. I'm not sure if it's the video recording software plus the game rendering in high settings. I might have to actually dial down the settings the next time I record a video. But our boy's on the left now. Well, that was a throw-in, to be fair. But he is kind of in the left channel there, as you can see. All right, here we go again. Probably one last move before I end this video. Just we go into the build-up phase again. We've got that structure, and he's getting involved. He's the first point of contact for the back six. Then he lays it off to a striker, and then joins the forward line again. Look at that. He's going in way beyond. While the IW drops back, there he is, almost as a second striker. And once the ball goes out wide, oh my goodness me, what was that? He is in there like a second number 9. So he's right up there with the... Again, this is a center forward we're talking about. This is not some kind of withdrawn forward. So with a withdrawn forward, you can imagine he runs beyond, actually. I would have liked to actually show you that, but this video is getting super long anyway, and it's just one role and a few combinations that we're focusing on here. I don't think we're going to get the ball. As I say that, we get the ball. Great. Amazing tackle. Again, he's right there, just on the edge of the build-up, waiting for the ball to progress it forward. He gets it and zings it forward. Very, very cool. So again, this has been the channel forward. There he is, waiting for a little through ball, and then gives, and then he goes. Lots of nice little 1-2 passes, little combinations with the players around him. But again, that's not, for me, optimal, because there's really not that much space for him to operate in. If you want that super short passing game, I think it's good to have inside forwards or, inside wingers, and then have this guy in the number 10 in something like a channel role where he can get to both sides of your striker. But it really is up to you in terms of how to utilize him. Let's recap very briefly. As I always like to do, the channel midfielder will kind of operate in a U shape around the striker like that when he's from the AM position. He'll go in this kind of way as long as there's no pressure from the roles on either side. In this particular situation, there's pressure from both roles, so that's going to equalize a little bit. Obviously, you could bring in pressure from one of these midfielders, get this guy in as a, let's say, a box-to-box from that left-hand side. Let me just get to, oh my goodness me. Let me just get to tactics once more as we skipped straight through that. Yeah, so you could get this guy into a box-to-box kind of role, either box-to-box midfielder or box-to-box playmaker, where it says moves up to AMC. So that'll create a little bit of pressure when he gets up there, which will bias him then probably to this right-hand side a little bit more. but the main pressure is from these two wingers. So you can engineer which side the channel midfielder goes to by having one of these players stay wide, for example, with the wide forward. I love the combinations with the wide forward and the channel midfielder, for example, because the winger will get his head down and run with the ball quite a lot, whereas the wide forward will look for these through balls and stuff as this guy goes to this side. Again, we're looking at a center forward. The center forward isn't going to go side to side very much. He's very much a central player, just like, let's say, the poacher. And the target forward, I think, is also a pretty central player, as opposed to the channel forward, who will, surprise, surprise, run into those channels, which will then compete with the CHM. If you want to try that together in this kind of setup with wide player here, so winger, winger, or wide forward, and then these two as channel players, that would work as well. That would be an interesting little combination to set out. But again, I like the one central, one channel, so one guy running around the other central pivot. You could do it the other way, obviously, by changing this role to be something like an AM, and this guy is a channel forward. That means this guy will attack the central line, and this guy will drop a little bit wider. But it's up to you in terms of how you create those combinations. Second part of the recap is, of course, when you play this guy as a central midfielder, you may have to decide which central midfield spot to play him in. Shall we just try and see if we can get a channel midfielder? Yeah, we can, actually. So in that case, you might actually be able to, if you've got wide player here, you might get this channel guy going to those two sides. But as we saw from the CM role, he's a bit more involved in the build-up. He's a bit more involved in the progression of the ball. And he'll make later runs than the attacking midfield slot channel midfielder, right? Of course, if you play him like this, then he is biased to that right-hand side. And he'll generally try and look to that channel, which is then where you need to make a more logical decision of what kind of roles you're playing on this side. If you're playing, wing back and a winger or something like that, having one more player on that side might be then too much wide stuff. So you might want to have this guy more as a central player. But again, it's up to you. If you want to overload the wide areas and you've got enough cover in the middle, you might be able to do that because you'll then have a wide player, wide half space, and a central player. So that's an overload on the right-hand side. So again, I hope you've seen a little bit of interesting stuff in terms of the channel midfielder. I hope you've gotten a couple of interesting ideas. We actually had him score a goal from one of his moves, which was great. Let me know below if there's any particular role you want to touch on next. But I might generally just go through some of these quote-unquote newer roles because we've covered a lot of old roles in FM24. A lot of them are similar. There are, again, a few new ones. For example, we go into the DM strata. Ooh, this is out of possession, isn't it? Or is it? I'm not sure. Yes, this is in fact a single DM, so the role choices are then limited. Whereas if you have a double DM, let's make them a little bit, like this. So essentially a side DM, then the role choices are more. So you've got a box-to-box midfielder from DM, which is a bit more like the segundo volante, box-to-box playmaker, which is something like a regista, but a little bit more aggressive, let's say. And so on. So there's a few new things you can do. From the wing-back position, obviously, you've got the playmaking wing-back, who is a bit different. That's the Trent Alexander-Arnold position. From the wide roles, you've essentially got this wide forward, which is kind of new. It's a bit of a combination between roles. You've also got the playmaking winger, but that's more of a trequartista kind of, sort of. But there you go. So we'll focus on some of these in upcoming videos. Let me know which one exactly you want to see next, or if there's one urgent one that you want to see. But for now, I hope I've helped you out a little bit with this very, very lovely channel midfielder, which I'm practically using in every game that I'm playing right now. I've got 2 saves going, and I've got this guy running in basically every one of these saves in almost every single tactic that I build, because I'm trying to use center forwards and channel midfielders together. All right, cheers, and I will talk to you in the comments below. Have a good weekend.